What is to stop the youth from get out of control? Full of
Mamay Flabo. Mamay Babonneau. Mamay Setlise. You know, it is a pleasure to be on this platform. It is a pleasure, a very special pleasure, to be in Micoud. You know, really and truly, the last time I saw so many flabos in one place at a political meeting was in the Boulevard in 2016. And I tell you, I knew then, as I know now, that we will win the next general election. So tonight, we formally announce to the world that a new political force has gathered here in St. Lucia. A new political force of men and women of character. Men and women who have assembled to work for you. Quickly, I acknowledge my political leader and all the rest of the team in the hierarchy of the UWP. And I acknowledge my constituency branch. I acknowledge my wife. I acknowledge everyone who is making it possible for me to be here tonight. Mamay Flabo, are you ready to build on the legacy of the person Tommy described for you tonight? Are you ready to build on the legacy of Sir John George Melvin Compton? I said to you, with God's help, we will build together. I can say to you tonight that we are ready. I can say to you tonight that I am ready. And just quickly to tell you why I know I am ready. Well, I am the son of a man from Babonneau who worked all his life in the banana industry. I am the son of a woman from Babonneau, born in Limer, in Denry South. Sorry, Denry North it is, I think. Born in Orléans, raised in Chassin. I am the son of these two people. I am the son of these two people, and I'm one of 7. And they taught us the basic values of respect for each one. They taught us the values of working honestly every day for whatever you will have. And I will give that value to you, the people of Babonneau and the people of St. Lucia. I am also the product of the community of Babonneau. And Babonneau, we are a people. We have a history where we work together, we play together, and we build together. And we leave no one behind. I am from a community where the quality of a man is not determined by his financial means, but by his actions and his values. So, the values of respect for each other, I hold sacrosanct. The values of honesty is what is my foundation. You know, a number of steps in my life's journey has brought me here tonight. I am a alumni, a student from Castries Comprehensive Secondary School. I walked and worked from comprehensive school to UWI Mona in Jamaica. I worked as a youth advocate in the Archdiocesan Youth Office of St. Lucia. I have had the experience of working, defending, and fighting for young people. I have had the experience of spending 34 years in the public service. A number of these years was spent in the Government Information Service. I was the youngest Chief Information Officer in my time. I have worked in the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Commerce, Labor, Civil Aviation, Tourism. I said those things just to let you know that I come here tonight experienced and prepared to serve you. So, I say, given these experiences and all that this country has given to me, and mindful of the saying that to those who much is given, much is expected, it would be difficult for me at this juncture in my life to walk away and not serve my country further. I am reminded by the famous line of Edward Burke, all that is required for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. So, I could not sit on the sidelines when the people of Babonneau and St. Lucia are calling for people of goodwill, integrity, and capacity to stand to make right the many wrongs you have suffered over the last 4 years. For example, the actions and inactions that have caused our country to be placed on a watch list that threatens our visa waiver to Europe and even to Martinique next door. I had to answer the call to serve after seeing St. Lucia's health infrastructure sent backward when a government will choose an 80-year-old hospital that was burnt and try to build on this and reject a brand new modern structure to serve the people of St. Lucia. And while they did this, it has cost us millions of dollars. How could I remain on the sidelines when we witness an administration that chooses to construct a halls of justice? And you need to listen to this. They would have used a system called Build, Own, Lease, and Transfer, a BOLT system, which will cost St. Lucia $155 million in costs, plus $128 million in interest after it is paid, plus a further $17 million in land acquisition and other transaction costs. In other words, $300 million to build a hall of justice. And you compare this with the United Workers' Party's approach, where we would have built on government lands, our lands, a similar facility for $91 million. How could I sit on the sidelines when I can see that happening in my country? I could not sit on the sidelines when there is inexplicable accumulation by a certain government minister in the months after the $80 million loan was guaranteed for the National Lotteries Authority. And we know we have a prime minister who is aware, and he's on the record for saying that the appearance of corruption is worse than corruption itself. And with that knowledge, he has still not commissioned any known investigation into this in-your-face sudden amassing of wealth. Despite the pleas of the people of Grosile and St. Lucia for an explanation. My fellow citizens, sons and daughters of St. Lucia, I had to step forward when I can see a Huranora Airport redevelopment project, which ought to have cost about $175 million, which was secured with a consortium of funds, including the Exim Bank of Taiwan and other local sources. And 4 years later, the Huranora International Airport redevelopment is nowhere nearer. Yet, we have treated our friends, the Taiwanese, in such a manner. You know, I had to step forward when I see a housing project in Talvan in Babonneau, which was started under the United Workers' Party, and land was supposed to be sold between $7 and $9 a square foot. And the project was stopped. And now, to access that same land, you have to pay anywhere between $12 and $14.50 for a square foot of land. So tell me, how does a government crush the hopes of young people who would have qualified for that land at $9 $9 a square foot, but now that land is out of the range because it is at between $12 and $14 a square foot? How do you do that to your own people? So my Flobo, our country is at a very critical point. No matter how you look at it, whether it is crime, whether it is debt, whether it is governance, whether it is democracy, we are at a critical juncture. So because of this, I am driven by a desire to ensure that we will not have a government that will implement policies that increase the cost of living at a time when prices are rising. I will ensure, and I want to be part of a government that will, as soon as possible after we get into office, remove this health and security tax on the back of the people of this country. But to achieve these objectives, and I want to take some time here, and I want you to hear me very clearly. To achieve these objectives, we must first participate in the general elections by voting to rescue this nation from the St. Lucia Labour Party. And what does that mean? It means that on election day, you must say to yourself that I am voting for someone who represents my values, someone who represents my goals and desires, someone who can provide effective representation, and someone who will be an advocate for me. I am not voting because I was paid to do so. And anyone who does that is disrespecting me. I am voting for someone that I am proud of. I am voting for someone who is an example of good leadership. I am voting for someone who is an example of commitment. You know, the current administration is an organization that has shown to us it has no scruples. It will make a deal or enter into an alliance with anything or anyone that will guarantee it power. Mamai Setlisi, Mamai Flobo. By now, after 4 years since the last general elections, I think you know that it is not you that is being put first by this administration. But rather, it is the shareholders of this cabal. Those who put a few friends and families first. So the time has come for us to act. The time has come for us to rise up and do what it takes to save St. Lucia for future generations. I therefore call on every fair-minded St. Lucian to look at the facts. Look at the lack of leadership in this administration and give your verdict. So I ask you some questions. Tell me, can we do better than the wastage of $1 million in St. Jude's? Yes, we can. Can we do better than the absence of accountability for billions of our CIP funds? Yes, we can. Can we not do better than increase spending on the Grosile Road from 15 million to 40 million for the same road? Yes, we can. Can we do better than watch people in complicit silence on high fuel prices when they know it should be lower? Yes, we can. Can we not have a government that will plan for the development of St. Lucia while addressing our security concerns? Yes, we can. So, if you know this and if you believe this, I ask you to speak with one voice and vote for the United Workers' Party when the next general elections are called. I thank you.
I'm a living while I'm living to the Father I will